How do everyone, and welcome back into my home. Originally last Monday I'd taken the train platform down and everything was boxed up and taken upstairs for storage, but I was thinking about how many people were interested in the track plan for the Christmas layout, so I brought the boxes of track back down and set them up on the living room floor. So here for the first time, an unobstructed view of the track plan without anything in the way of it, and you can see what it is. The outside is pretty much a rather simple loop, and the inner loop being the more complicated thing. And what I'm going to do is get down off the ladder and walk around a bit and explain some things, because I have custom cut track sections on it. So let's get down off the ladder and we'll start our little tour. And in my hand I have a sheet with a drawing of the layout, which is pretty crude, with some dimensions written down. But let's start in the outer loop, and let's start right here. Let me pull the camera back so you can get an idea where I'm at. This is a Lionel O-gauge manual switch. I think it's an 042 switch. Okay, so let me just talk about the siding briefly. This is a standard piece of Lionel O-gauge track, and there's a second section to it that's custom cut, and the measurement on that piece is 5 3/4 inches. Again, 5 3/4 inches, and of course you can see it has a bumper on it. Let's come back out. Okay, we have our 042 switch, and then we have, and this is just stock tubular O-gauge track, 1 straight section, 2 straight sections, 3 straight sections, 4 straight sections, and then there's a custom cut section right here, and the measurement on that is 3 7/8 inches. Again, that's 3 7/8 inches. Then we have a curved section, and that's an 031 Lionel O-gauge track in there. And then we're coming up to here. This was an insulated section which control a block signal, and that's again a piece of standard Lionel O-gauge straight track. Next up is another custom cut section, and the measurement on this is 3 7/8 inches. Again, 3 7/8 inches. And then we go into another 042 switch, left hand in nature. Proceeding along the main line, I'll come back to that siding. Proceeding along the main line, another piece of stock O-gauge straight track, and then a second piece of stock O-gauge straight track. And let me just swing around here. This is followed by a pair of 031 curved tracks, 1 and 2. And then we're going to go up what was the back of the layout against the wall. And the first piece in that is yet another custom cut section. And the measurement on that is 3 7/8 inches. Again, the measurement is 3 7/8 inches. And this is followed by several stock Lionel O-gauge straight tracks. So let's count them off. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's 7 straight tracks and 1 custom cut track. That takes us up the back of the layout. And rounding the corner, we have another pair of 031 curved tracks right here. And coming up the side of the layout, and this is the 5 foot, I think it's 64 inches exactly, the layout door that I have measured out. Anyway, moving forward, we have here 1, 2, and 3 pieces of stock Lionel O-gauge straight track, and then we walk into another pair of 031 curves, 1, 2, And we're just about back at the switch where we started. Maybe I should pivot around here. And let us get oriented. Okay, this is coming back to where we started. Because of the measurement between the last 031 curve and the switch, what I had decided to do was go with, instead of standard stock O-gauge straight piece and an extremely short second section, what I did was I cut two pieces of track, and they were just random number. But the first one here measures 5 3/8 inches. Again, that's 5 3/8 inches. And this piece is 4 7/8 inches. 4 7/8 inches. We've already done the siding, so let's walk down to this siding. And if anybody remembers from my videos of the platform, the NOMA station was in here and the oil derrick in here. The siding, that's made up of one stock straight O-gauge piece, and this piece over here is a custom cut piece that measures 6 1/2 inches. Again, 6 1/2 inches. So that takes care of the outer loop, which is the simple loop. And let's go do the more complicated inner loop. I'm thinking we'll start here at the switch to the coal ramp. Again, another manual 042 O-gauge switch, post-war in nature. And let's just hit on the lead to the coal ramp. There's a really short section of track here that measures 1 3/8 inches. Again, the measurement on that is 1 3/8 inches. So let's go back out on the main line here. We have the switch. This is an 031 Lionel O-gauge curve. And then there's one straight piece and a second straight piece. In this case, I had an uncoupling track in there. Okay, moving forward, we have another 031 curve. And then we have 1 and 2 stock O-gauge straight pieces. Next up, 1 and 2 Lionel 031 curves. And then moving around, we have a stock piece of Lionel straight track O-gauge. And then there's another 031 curve. Now, let me pivot. Okay, so we can get oriented. This back here was the wall in the Christmas layout. So the last thing I talked about was the 031 curve here. And just let me get my paper oriented so I can give you the correct information on this. Okay. First piece of track here is a custom cut one, and that is 5 inches long. Again, 5 inches long. And then we have several stock O-gauge straight tracks in a row. So let's count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of stock O-gauge straight track. Coming around the bend, we have 1, 2, constituting a pair of Lionel 031 curves. And then there's a short section of custom cut track, and this little short straight piece measures 5 5/8 inches long. Again, that's 5 5/8 inches long. And then 1, 2 031 curves. And here we have a 45-degree crossover O-gauge. And just for your orientation, this is the switch where we started this inner loop at and leading to the coal ramp. But let's get back to here. We're going in this direction. Crossing over the 45-degree crossover, we have single section of 031 curve, and on a platform I had an uncoupling section, or you could use a stock straight piece of O-gauge. And then it goes into a 90-degree crossing. Okay, after the 90-degree crossing, one piece stock O-gauge straight track, and then we have 1, 2 pieces of 031 curve track, and then we come up here to yet another custom cut piece, and this one measures 5 5/8 inches long. Again, it's 5 5/8 inches long. And then we have 1, 2, and 3 pieces of 031 curve track. Okay, 1 piece, 1 left-hand 042 manual O-gauge switch, and I'll come back to that siding in a minute. After the switch, we have another custom cut straight section, and that one measures 5 5/8 inches long. Again, 5 5/8 inches long. And then we have another stock piece of O-gauge straight track, and we're moving into that 90-degree crossover again. After the 90-degree crossover, another piece of stock O-gauge straight track, and we're going to swing around the circle here. These are all 031 curves, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and that takes us back into the 45-degree crossover. And moving across that is the switch where we began this video, and I'm spinning around here just to get us oriented again to show you where I'm at. Okay, I already talked about the coal ramp being on it, and this is a excuse me, a Lionel post-war coal ramp. And let's go into the siding now that contain the cattle pen. This is a custom cut section. It's about 4 1/4 inches long, and I'm pretty sure it's an 072 section that I had laying around. And because of the cattle pen and the way it's made, I wound up putting 2 custom cut sections of straight, and each one of them is 8 inches long, because there's a notch in the cattle pen base where these 2 ties fit in nicely and everything snaps into place. So there you have the video. Let me see if I can stand on the furniture and give you a look from this direction. There it is. And what I had done originally was brought the stepladder in here, climbed up, and I'd taken still pictures, and my intent was to print these out and write the dimensions on them. But as I was doing that, the cartridges in my printer kicked, and I could only print in black and white, and they weren't coming out too good. So we come up with this video as an alternate to that. So this is what the Christmas platform track scheme was. And even though I had a piece of paper with the thing very crudely marked out, it was difficult for me to set it up on the floor. When the platform itself is set up, everything's painted on it, and where the track and streets are was painted tan, so it's kind of foolproof. You just put the track in where the roadbed goes, and if you get confused about what section goes where, you can figure it out pretty easy. But again, it was a little more difficult to put this on the floor and get everything lined up right, so I could make a half-decent video to show everybody. So I'm just going to step back into the other room and give you a parting shot of this. Maybe I should go back up on the ladder. Let's try that. And there's our Kazan parked by the door, but at least she's not laying across the track. So this is an aerial view. Let me see how high I can get with it. My head's almost hitting the ceiling here. So that's the whole thing, and we're looking at it as it was laid out. In the foreground of the picture would have been the transformer. Gives you an idea. But that's it, and I hope by this video those who wanted to know the track scheme in a more detailed perspective can benefit from it. And this was interesting to make and fun, and I hope folks out there can figure it out from this. So for now, let's end it and say goodbye and take care and have a safe and happy 2012, everybody. Peace.